Welcome to Extra. I'm Joanne Hines.
And I'm Georgia Lash. Here at Extra, we bring you expanded coverage of recently broadcast features from Sun City TV. Now, our stories on Extra usually come from our Sun City news show. But SCTV is so much more than just the news. We're a television station with a full 24-hour programming schedule. So this month, we're bringing attention to our other SCTV family of programs.
It's a Sun City TV family reunion. We're so proud of what a group of 24 volunteers have created for you as a reflection of the lifestyle we moved here for.
So we'll be introducing a segment from each of our monthly shows. Let's start with one of our first monthly shows that our volunteers created. And if I remember correctly, Joanne, this was your brainchild, so fill us in.
Thank you, Georgia. We realize that you, our Sun City neighbors, should be the stars of SCTV. With a nod to Sesame Street, the show was aptly named In Our Neighborhoods. We got our camera and started meeting the people in our neighborhoods at their parties and fun events. Here's an example. We joined Heritage Oak Place, fondly named HOP, as they celebrated Mardi Gras.
Hi, this is Heritage Oak Place. We call ourselves HOP, and we are celebrating Mardi Gras. Even though we're a little late, this was the date that Lifestyles gave us, so we had to work with the end of the month, but we figured it was still appropriate. And we decided to have Mardi Gras be the theme because it was the month of February, and it would be appropriate.
Okay, well, as you can see, we have beautiful Mardi Gras decorations that our committee does. We borrowed the centerpieces from Astor Fields and jazzed them up a little bit and brought them up to date. We decided to go with live music, and this is Keeping It Real. And our food is being catered by Jameson's, and it's all Mardi Gras food, jambalaya, red beans and rice, crab cakes, shrimp gumbo, and king cookies. So we're having a king and queen here later on tonight, and we will be doing a Congo line. So to the music of marching in. So.
England and Canada.
B, Pancake Day.
The official color of Mardi Gras, purple symbolized.
A, Justice.
Where was the first North American Mardi Gras celebrated?
A, Alabama. Kevin Thomas.
Yeah. Now let's see who the queen is. Elaine Taylor.
Everybody, we're going to enter on the line, get up and behind the king and queen. We're going to play When the Saints Go Marching In and have fun. Oh, when the saints go
It's so much fun peeking in at those parties and actually inviting ourselves into them. But really the nicest part is meeting so many great people here in Sun City.
Definitely. Meeting more of those nice people stimulated the creation of our next show. A little backstory here. During the renovation of Pinckney Hall, SCTV learned that we would be disengaging from the WHHI lineup. That meant our crew needed to fill a 24-hour viewing schedule. The challenge? What was missing from our programming? How could our volunteers accomplish the addition? The answer was our newest show, Sports Done Right, fittingly titled for our sports anchor, Doug Wright.
Now, not to flatter ourselves, but Sports Done Right was patterned as the sports version of this show extra. We already had Doug recording the plethora of all the sports activities, and along the way, he's learned the stories, past and present, of so many Sun City athletes. That's a lot to cram into a 3-minute news report. So Sports Done Right gives Doug the chance, as Paul Harvey said, to tell the rest of the story. So here's Doug getting the big story from Charlie Kent, Director of Golf Operations here in Sun City.
Well, Charlie, we were sitting out here on a beautiful spring day outside the clubhouse at Hidden Cypress, and I wanted to talk to you and find out about the plans for Okatee Golf Club.
Oh, well, great to have you here, Doug. It is a beautiful morning here at Hidden Cypress. Well, recently the board approved the Okatee Creek golf course renovation, including the practice areas, and we're super excited. Finally, we're going to get something done as far as renovation work goes. So what we have planned is to have a contractor come in next spring, starting March 31st, and should run all the way through September 30th, so it's 6 months. They will go in and core out the greens and kind of rebuild the greens from about 6 inches deep, putting a new grass Tiff Eagle, which is what we have here at Hidden Cypress. Also, by doing this, we're going to reestablish the original size of the greens.
Which is larger or smaller?
Well, they will be larger. Yeah, it'll be larger, so there'll be more pinnable, we call that pinnable locations on the greens. Bigger targets for everyone, which is always nice. Then we're going to be redoing the fairways. They'll be regrassed with Celebration. We're going to be adding 2 to 3 inches of sand, so that'll be mixed into the fairway mix and then sprigged with Celebration. Celebration is a turf that is very popular in our area nowadays. It's a little more shade tolerant, and also is pretty. It holds up pretty well with golf cart traffic. What we're really looking forward to is the addition of significant drainage that we're going to be putting out there. So literally from the tee box all the way up to the greens, we're going to be adding thousands of feet of drainage out there, and we're confident that we're going to be able to cut our cart path only days in half, if not more.
That'd be spectacular.
Well, it's going to be great to get the golf course back for most of our folks to be able to enjoy, and there is a return on the investment of putting in this drainage. We also included the entrance and the exits to the fairways with drainage, so on a soggy day, carts will be able to get out there onto the fairways. We also have planned to regrass and laser level all of the tee boxes, and we are adding an orange tee box, an official orange tee box that'll be leveled out for those users out there. So that's the scope of what the golf course is going to have done. And then when you move over to the practice areas, the current putting green will get renovated, and over at the range itself, we're going to be adding approximately 50% more tee box space, and then we'll be reconfiguring the how the practice greens are over there as well. We also have planned to widen the existing cart path. Actually, we're going to rip that junk out and put in a brand new wide cart path and add in kind of a gravel parking area up underneath the trees. So that'll be a really great experience for those who just like to practice.
Okay, that sounds terrific. Now, you probably haven't completed your plans yet for next summer, but with the increasing population here at Sun City, it's going to cause a little bit of a strain on tee times. And do you have any thoughts on that yet, or are you going to develop those?
So we do have thoughts on that. Right now, the Golf Advisory Committee, as well as myself and Rick Barnes, we're having meetings that have started. We've had them in past years, so we have a good plan. We just want to finalize that and submit the recommendations to the board of directors for their final approval. Once that occurs, we'll be able to announce our planned for how we're going to manage the tee times for next year. We really want to maximize the usage here at Hidden Cypress and at Argent. So, that information will come out either late summer or early fall. We'll get all that information out plenty time for folks to decide on golf plans and so forth for next year. So,
Well, you got a lot ahead of you, that's for sure. Is there anything else that you can think of you'd like to add about the Okatee renovation?
well, I know there's a lot of folks out there that are nervous about not being able to get a tee time, and certainly we are going to do our best to accommodate. But I think by the board making a commitment this early, it's really given folks an idea and a plan that they can start working on, whether it be maybe extensive travel next summer or a golf trip. I plan on putting together another trip to Ireland. In fact, I'm taking a group of residents next month to Ireland for the third summer in a row. So we'll look at doing things like that, maybe add another trip or two. So that's what I really commend the board for, letting us know this far early so we can all make good, sound plans.
Well, that sounds terrific. And Charlie, as always, we thank you for your time. We know that you and your staff do a great job here. Courses are in wonderful condition, and we'll look forward to adaptive golf here this weekend.
Well, Doug, thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
We got one more show segment to share. Georgia, this one's all yours.
Our Sun City Lifestyles Department gets the credit and our thanks for organizing the monthly Meet the Author events. SCTV has been invited to sit down to interview each author and get their backstory of the story they bring us. We've been gifted with the variety of literary genres these authors represent. One of the most popular shows featured the book Fall of the House of Murdaugh. What a great experience to meet with author Michael DeWitt. Michael, will you do us a favor by taking us in to the setting of Hampton County and how your life and work really wove through this Murdaugh saga?
Hampton County has been a very quiet place, or at least we thought it was a quiet place, for a long time. It's one of these places, little inland corner of the low country. We're an hour from everywhere. We're an hour from Hilton Head, Savannah, Beaufort. So close to everything, but still out in the middle of nowhere. And I was born and raised there, live on a nice family farm out in the southern part of the county. And I became the editor of the paper roughly 20 years ago. There's one weekly newspaper, the Hampton County Guardian, has been around 144 years, and I've been the editor for almost that long, 20 years. And I knew the Murdaugh family well. Went to school with Alex Murdaugh's little brother. His mother, Libby, who passed away recently, was one of my teachers. She taught me in middle school, English, literature, grammar. And I always grew up hearing stories about the Murdaughs, particularly Buster, Alex's grandfather, and the moonshine and the good old buddy system. And we thought all that was in the past. We knew the Murdaughs weren't always crystal clean, but we thought all that was in the past. And this recent crime saga has opened up old stories, opened up new wounds in our community. A lot of people have been and are still being impacted by this story.
Now, there is, a worldwide coverage of this story from Hampton County, but yet I felt like you had that inside advantage. Is that how you felt, that you could tell this story like no one else could?
I didn't feel that way at first. First, obviously, I'm not going to lie, I was intimidated. I've never dealt with a story like this ever in my life. If you know anything about a small town newspaper, a community newspaper, I like to call myself a country weekly editor. It sounds better, doesn't it? Country weekly editor. A small town editor has to do a little bit of everything. You might be writing about a town council meeting or a county council budget or a high school football game or grandma wins a pound cake contest, So you have to be a writer and a storyteller and with a little bit of knowledge about everything. And prior to this, I had no training or experience as an investigative journalist. Wasn't what I was trained to do, wasn't what my strength. And all this happened, and journalists from around the world, top-notch investigative journalists, are coming to Hampton. They're coming to South Carolina. They're in the courtroom. They are all over this story. And at first, as I came to find my legs and find my place in this story, at no point did I feel like in the beginning that I owned this story. I was struggling to keep up with the rest of the world and out of my comfort zone. And it occurred to me, other editors and writers were telling me, nobody can tell this story like you can. Nobody knows these people, nobody knows this place. And that was my strength. And I'll also touch on this in my upcoming presentation. While the hundreds of journalists around the English-speaking world are trying to predict what's going to come next, I went back in time. I went back into the past, the history, and started writing about all of these dark deeds that we read about in wicked Hampton County. And you'll read about and follow the House of Murdaugh. What my grandfather, what was old news to my ancestors, it was fresh, interesting, exciting backstory for the rest of the world. I did an article about the train wreck where Alex's great-grandfather was killed, And that article, no one else had ever dug so deep into that story. Now it's going to be in several books. It's already in a couple books. I was the first one to pull that story out. That story was picked up by the Washington Post. I've seen it in People magazine. I've seen it in a newspaper in London. And so I found, when everybody's trying to tell the same story, I think I found a way to tell it my own way, like only a local could tell it.
Well, I think you grounded it for us. You know how people say, well, the media, and the fake news, etc. But you were right there and had such history. So I know for me, it made me feel grounded, like I can believe this. There's a reality here. Now, the triple subtitle, Moonshine, Mayhem, Murder. It, apt description for what's happened in that family. But, we're also focused on Alex, but what were some of the little highlights of some of the other family little goings on that maybe stood out between the two books?
Well, the Moonshine and the Mayhem, and I think when the final book came out, they actually changed that subtitle to Moonshine, Manipulation and Murder. I always like Mayhem better, but the publisher's choice, and it still fits, it still works. I touched on the train crash. There's a big mystery there, the Murdoch mysteries. We've seen that headline or that title in other publications. That train crash is always going to be an unanswered Murdoch mystery, did he kill himself? There's so many unanswered questions. The documents. I kind of uncovered that story, and other writers like Jason Ryan dug even deeper, and I'm fascinated. I love his book as well. The train conductor testified that his car stopped on the tracks and he waved at the train as it was coming by. And he was, so there are questions. Was this a drunk driving accident? He was coming from a poker game. Was he intoxicated? Was this suicide? He had been ill for a long time before this. His family benefited from a lawsuit that his son filed. Was this part of a sacrifice to he lost his wealth during the Great Depression. Was this his way of giving, in his final act, to kill himself, to transfer wealth to his son and his family? So lots of unanswered questions. The Moonshine Conspiracy. Buster, Randolph Murdoch Jr., which is Alex's grandfather, was one of roughly 30 people involved in a moonshine conspiracy that included a sheriff, magistrates, deputies, and he was the only one that got away free. There's even a wonderful story, and someone testified on the stand in the federal court in Charleston that Alex Murdoch's grandfather accepted a bribe inside the Hampton County courthouse, same courthouse where Alex Murdoch was tried and convicted. These stories just so much more than just the tragic double homicide of the family.
It gives you a sense too of the personalities involved in here, because when you grow up and see entitlement, etc., whatever you want to label it, it starts to shape how those decisions were maybe made. But that's awesome. Now,
and we see similarity, we see parallels between Alex and his grandfather.
Mm-hmm. It is so humbling to meet those creative, talented individual authors. This show is such a labor of love for me, so I hope you'll tune in to our upcoming episodes of Meet the Author.
Here we've got a visit from a culinary expert, Jesse Blanco.
And local celebrities, so that's a don't miss. Now let's finish up with our favorite segment, Extra Special, and this time we bring you our coverage of a beloved annual fundraiser.
Mm-hmm. Each summer, the generosity of our Sun City neighbors really shows in the Fill the Bus campaign. Each year it gets bigger and better, and yes, we get enough supplies to fill the bus. So this is my labor of love, to get out and meet our tender-hearted neighborhoods. Let's watch.
Hi, we chose to do this year is because Greg and I both feel very strongly about helping and promoting the next generation of school kids so that they have the things they need to be educated. We think it's very important because somebody did it for our children.
I decided to do this for the past few years because I was a teacher and I knew so many of my students, and this is in New Jersey, needed the help collecting necessary things.
What inspired us to collect, well, this is our third year in a row.
doing the school supplies. Prior to moving to Sun City, we were involved with a food pantry that did a fairly, really large school supply drive every single year. And we were always involved with that. We always got tons and tons and tons of donations for the kids for Putnam County in New York.
Susan, tell me what you think about all this.
This is just such an amazing opportunity for the students that attend Jasper County Schools and Royal Live Oaks Academy. We are so excited and so appreciative of the support that your community has offered us. I'm so grateful.
That's awesome. What happens to the donations once we give them to you?
We're going back to the rec center. It gets divvied up and all of the schools get some of this for the students that need it. So Royal Live Oaks will get a chunk. Hardyville schools and Ridgeland schools will also receive all of the donations.
Well, thank you for speaking with me today, and let's go Royal Oaks.
Thank you. We appreciate your support. Come out and support us. We love it.
Seeing the reaction of the principal just made my heart grow. We've got more of this goodness. Our fellow SCTV reporter, Chris Chase, is one of our Fill the Bus organizers. She celebrates with all our Sun City Southside donors and shares the final stop for all the collected supplies.
Now, Cynthia, you have a lot of wonderful things, and I see all the help you've got here, too. Did you enjoy doing this?
Believe it or not, Chris, I only collected for 1 week. I know that there were some neighborhoods that did more, but this was just a culmination of donations for 1 week. And yes, we always enjoy doing it. It's very fulfilling. As you could see, there is probably every school supply that a child would need.
And more. Lots of backpacks.
Lots of backpacks this year. I think there was a note about, them needing that. So as usual, the neighbors, when they call out, they help. So it's wonderful.
Now, Kate, this is a lot of wonderful things you've collected. What have we got here?
Oh, man, I have a list here, but I can tell you we have like 80 packages of 10 markers in each package. That's 80 times 10, 800. We have 56 backpacks, and they're really terrific ones. Let me show you. Look at this.
Oh, aren't they adorable?
Each one is more wonderful than the other. They're just great.
All right, now, we've collected a lot of things, as you've seen, and a lot of the people in Sun City say, how is it distributed, Chris? I'm not sure.
All of the items are distributed to our students. Some of the students will receive it during open house. That's when we give away book bags full of school supplies. And throughout the school year, we have unfortunate situations and circumstances where students require a new book bag and school supplies. And our guidance counselors distribute it to those students that are in need.
We got a lot of backpacks this year.
Wonderful. And that is exactly what we needed. Several of the parents and students are always asking, can I get a backpack? Do you have any more backpacks? So we really appreciate this support.
All right. Now, what do these supplies mean to you when we bring them to you?
These supplies are a huge help to our students and their parents. It means academic success for me, because when students have the tools that they need to do their work in class, they'll of course perform a lot better, but it's also less financial burden for parents as well.
Well, that's great. Thank you. And what about you?
Well, I think it's fundamental. It's vital for us to have this support, and I think it's everybody's blessing, and we really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
That's extra for September. Thanks for watching.
You can always catch us on cable and on our YouTube station, where we invite you to subscribe for easy viewing.